Welcome back to the Morning Blend. In a lot of ways, dating apps are a great tool. You have the ability to meet single people, you find a match, you go on a date. But as a parent, I have concerns about dating apps for kids.
I didn't even know they existed. There's definitely a good side and a bad side of dating apps, but teenagers, should they be using them? Dr. Melissa Westendorf is a clinical psychologist and co-founder of the Technology Wellness Center, and she's got advice for parents. Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
I'm not going to lie. When we heard about this topic, I was shocked. I didn't realize that there were dating apps for teens.
It took me a day to pull the chin off the floor when I realized that this was what was happening.
What do they do? They got such a big pool.
I know.
Do they not understand? They've got everybody at their fingertips that they need. They don't need to go elsewhere.
I know. It's just, their entire lives are online. So why wouldn't dating be online as well? I think is sort of what us adults need to think about.
Well, and as a parent, it's exactly that. I think of teenagers as having access to meeting so many people because they're in school. So if it's high school, for example, I mean, I don't know if we're talking as young as middle school, but high school, they have a lot of people. And even in college, they, depending on the size of the school, they have access to a lot of people. But I do know my daughter who's in college, she's not on an app, but she has a lot of friends who are on dating apps. That's a little older.
College makes sense to me too.
Right. It's, I don't quite get it, but I think that's just our generation difference. Everything is online for them. And, maybe it is good for meeting new people who have similar interests. I'm not sure you have to do it in a dating app because of all the difficulties that are associated with dating apps. I certainly don't recommend it and wouldn't have my children doing it, but parents should know that it is out there and that kids are doing it.
So what do you see as the problems of a dating app for teens?
Well, so a lot of the apps that we've talked about are very superficial, like you're swiping right or left, or, it's on the superficial stuff. And adults, I think, can go to those apps that are trying to match you based on interest. So you have this superficiality that kids are going through, and which is a difficult time, right? Going through high school and how do I look and how do other people perceive me? So I think it can set up some people for some problems. I'm also a forensic psychologist. I have done evaluations on adults who have gone to these apps and have used them to solicit adolescents. So I know that that's going on as well.
Do the studies show that teenagers are using dating apps?
They are. So they've started looking at some of these studies, and it looks like it's anywhere, they say 7% of Tinder users are adolescents, and another study was like 1 in 6.
Because technically you're supposed to be 18 to be on Tinder.
You are. Technically you're supposed to be 18, but we all know how easy it is to lie on these apps.
Just click a button, right? So it's Tinder, there's Bumble, there's Blender. Those are all the adult ones, but the ones that are specific for teens are what? Scout?
So there's Scout and Yubo. And Scout is actually for both. It's for adults and kids, and they have it's a moderated one for the teenagers, but again, it has all the same risk. I mean, anybody can fake being a teenager in there. Select a picture, a social media picture from some other kid and put it on as theirs. So it doesn't really eliminate that issue. And then the Yubo, it's had some problems over time. It is supposed to be specifically geared for teens, but again, you're going to have all those same, there's just no way to get around the scarier parts of this.
Because predators can still go on there and target teens under a fake profile.
Is this real Down, Hot or Not?
Those are two different apps.
Down
is
Hot or Not.
And the other one is Hot or Not, and I mean, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out what those are for.
They're not for dating.
Tell me, because I don't get it.
Are you down?
I'll let her tell you afterwards.
There's an acronym for down.
Yes.
So they're supposed to be 18 to register. How are teens able to do it? Because you just put in your birth date and...
so a lot of them are hooked up to Facebook so that it can then suck in all your contacts, right? And so they just lie. I mean, you just bump up, your...
Except for Scout and Yubo, which you can be a teenager.
Right, which you can be a teenager. Yes, right.
So are there any positives? Because, as we look at these, you said, here's the deal, their lives are online. This is how they perceive life, and it's very different than the way we do. So are there any positives? Is there any silver lining to this?
Maybe for kids who really have some unique interests and they're looking for somebody else who might have those similar types of interests.
If they're at a small school and maybe
they're
really into, maybe some of the other kids aren't that, even like, anime or something that maybe there's not a big population in their school are into. They could find other teens.
Right, and maybe there's a possibility kids who are homeschooled, they have sometimes less access, if their parents don't have them involved in other activities. I mean, those are possibilities, but, my recommendation is you really have to talk to your kid a lot about what's out there and have that be open, date, like you're going to know if your child is going to go on a date with somebody, right? But you should also know who they're talking to in these dating apps as well.
In those forums, because the conversation is where it begins.
Right,
and then sometimes it goes on from there.
Yes.
The Technology Wellness Center has a website, but you can see this segment again and get more information about Melissa and the work she does by going to themorningblend.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.